Trade reports are really starting to intensify for the Toronto Maple Leafs as the deadline inches closer and closer, and a recent Insider N reporter has revealed a potential blockbuster trade between the Calgary Flames and the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we'll break down that report as well as the blockbuster trade and discuss if we think it would be a good deal for the Maple Leafs to make on this episode of Leafs Digest, as well as discuss Morgan Rielly. His suspension has been revealed, the amount of days, and some wild details regarding that have surfaced. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit the subscribe button. We noticed about 78.3% of you who are watching are not subscribed, so if you aren't already, scroll down and hit that button. We're very close to 6,000, less than 150 away or 100 away, so make sure to hit that button, and thank you guys for your continued support there now. And Darius, let's get right into the first topic, which you just kind of saw a tidbit of because I misclicked again on the screenshot there, but here we go. This is Morgan Rielly. He has been suspended for 5 games, and before we get into the exact, obviously, details of the number, David Alto report, word of Morgan Rielly's suspension leaked before the Leafs were informed by NHL Department of Player Safety, and then shortly after, here we go, from the NHL Department of Player Safety, 5 games for Morgan Rielly for his cross-check on Ottawa's, I'm not even going to say his name because we've said it so much over the past few days. What are your thoughts on the suspension? What are your thoughts on the details being leaked? We have some other crazy stuff to get into. I'm ready for this situation to be done with. I'm sick of it. The Leafs play good without Morgan Rielly. It's horrible. 5 games is way too much, and that's where I stand on it. But what are your thoughts on all this?
I'm with you. As soon as this video is done, I'm over it. We gotta move on from this topic because this has been lingering for too long, too many days, and I'm sick and tired of seeing Ridley Gregg's name and having to spell it. But yeah, like you said, 5 games. It's a little bit more than I would have liked. It's a little bit more than pretty much everyone was saying, unless you're not a Leafs fan. You know, if you're not a Leafs fan, it was 20 games, 30 games, 50 games. But even all the analysts and on the broadcast last night, even on the Sportsnet broadcast, which wasn't showing the Leafs game, they were talking about how maybe 2 or 3 games would have been justified. But again, he gets the 5 game. It's pretty interesting too, because he is appealing it. That came out today as well. And he has to go to straight to Gary Bettman instead of a third party because it is 5 games, not over 5 games. So George Parros, to me, looks like he knows exactly what he's doing. He kind of brings the hammer down with the 5 game suspension, and it's not enough to go to a third party for the appeal. So pretty interesting. And like you said, it looks like it was leaked yesterday on Twitter first and to reporters, and it wasn't told to the Maple Leafs, their staff, and obviously Morgan Rielly first, that is protocol. And if that's true, I feel like that's kind of taking a shot at the organization. And once again, it just feels like, I don't know if it's 100% true, but it just feels like the Leafs are at the center of it again, being made an example. And the stuff we've seen this year, you can, even last night there was another $5,000 fine given out for slashing somebody in the head last night, and it happened again earlier in this season where you slash somebody in the head and it's only a $5,000 fine, but yet this 5 game suspension, just odd.
Very odd, and it's just the whole situation's weird. And one thing I want to bring up before we move on to an interesting one is that the Leafs are number 1 in NHL suspension since 2017-2018 from Jeff. Shout out to Jeff Villette here for his, chart or whatever he did. Again, who knows really if they're actually against the Maple Leafs? Like, probably not, but the fact is that it is not a very good look on the NHL regardless, whether you're a Leafs fan or not. I know a lot of non-Leafs fans out there are saying he deserved it. Fair enough, but when you look at some of the other stuff, the precedent being set, I don't know, 5. The glass half full side of it is that it could have been more. It was an in-person hearing, could have been over 6, 7, 8, 9. Do you have any quick thoughts on this before we wrap up and never talk about this again? The situation that is?
Yeah, and I hope we don't have to talk about it again, but like we talked about in a previous video, you can't sit on the fence on this topic, right? The Leafs are the most suspended team in the league since 2017-18. So is it they're soft or is it they're a dirty team? Which one is it? Because the narrative the whole time has been they're soft. So how are they the most suspended team? It doesn't really add up in my head. But again, I don't know. You can look at the numbers for yourself. Obviously, the chart just goes by, when there was no appeals. I think technically the Washington Capitals lead in that time, but I think suspension was cut in half or something like that. So in terms of actual, games suspended and served, I think the Leafs are still at the top. And then again, the Bruins second, which is another team that I don't think George Parros liked very much in his playing days. But you know what? It is what it is. We can't say for sure. We can't, link it directly. So it's just very interesting to look at. That's for sure.
Fair. And let us know what your thoughts are on that. If you're happy with the 5 games, I don't think anyone will be, but we'll see about that. Now let's move on now to Insider proposes a blockbuster trade. Now this one's fun. There's a lot of reports lately about Noah Hannafin being potentially moved to the Maple Leafs. We'll discuss some more reports in a video maybe tomorrow or the next day, but we're going to focus on this blockbuster trade that was proposed by Frank Saravalli here. Mock trade with Calgary. the Leafs get Noah Hanifin and Andrew Mangiapane, 50% retained, for a lot of stuff. Now, in this screenshot here, I actually have the rest of the package hidden because I forgot to hit show more, but it's 3 first-round picks, Nick Robertson, it's some prospects. Darius, this is a crazy, crazy trade. It is a wild one. What are your thoughts on this in general, or I guess on the prospect of the Leafs getting Mangiapane and Noah Hanifin in a deal with the Calgary Flames? Again, there's been a lot of reports about it, and I'll read out the exact package for you now because I forgot to show it here. So it's this three first-round picks plus Topi Nimella, Nick Robertson, and Ryan Reeves. So those are the trades, the 3 firsts plus the 3 players. But even highlighting just the 3 firsts is kind of the big thing here. Obviously, Nick Robertson and Topi Nimella are decent prospects / current players. What are your thoughts on that, on the trade, and do you think it's a decent deal for either side?
Well, if you ask my opinion, I'd rather Noah Hanifin than Chris Tanev. Just overall, I think he's a better defender. He's younger, and if you can get him locked up, that would be a good thing. So I think if he is to come over, it has to come with a deal. That's 100%. He would have to sign a contract extension. Andrew Mangiapane, I think he helps your team right away. I like this player. I think he helped the Flames in the playoffs as well. I know they didn't really succeed there, but I think he would look really good with the Leafs and maybe solve that second line left wing position. Who knows with Tyler Bertuzzi? He's been playing better. He just isn't scoring, right? So that wouldn't be bad coming to the Leafs. The problem I have with this proposed trade is what's coming out. The first round pick is tough. I know it's probably going to happen, but to give up a first round pick and Nick Robertson and one of your better defensive prospects in Yamala, that is a steep price. Now, you might have to give up some of these picks because if you include Ryan Reeves in that's what you're giving up the picks and those assets for, right? So just to dump that salary. But I don't know if Ryan Reeves is that much of a liability so far this year. I think he's playing a little bit better. I know people are, pinpointing certain moments in games where he's terrible, but I think we all knew what we were getting with Ryan Reeves, and I don't think he's been he has been kind of a liability, but I think what he brings to the locker room and his cap hit, I don't know if it's worth dumping draft picks to get rid of him, right? So I like what would come back to the Leafs in this. I just don't know about this specific proposed trade, what's coming out.
Yeah, and again, I said 3 first-round picks. I meant 3 draft picks. Obviously, 1 first-round pick.
No, that would be...
Yeah, not 3 firsts for this. Let's make that clear. But you can read it on the screen. A first, a third, a fifth, Nimella, Nick Robertson, Ryan Reeves. That is the package. So a very big one, a very interesting one. And again, you're getting back 2 huge players here. And when you're looking at kind of the way that this is going. So you can see this report from Anthony DeMarco. This is regarding Ristolainen, just kind of how this could lead into a potential Hanifin trade and why the Hanifin buzz is getting more intense as of late is that Ristolainen's injury is going to be significant and he's going to be out for a while. He's not going to get traded. So that was a potential Leafs target. And I know a lot of Leafs fans are like, well, I'd much rather Hanifin and Mangiapane. That's true. Obviously, they'll cost a lot more, so some Leafs fans might be happy there. And you're looking at Noah Hanifin's stats here, 29 points, 53 games. Would rather him for Chris Tanev. And I looked at the responses to this tweet that was put out by Maple Leafs News, Buds All Day 34, shout out to him. But the response basically was, if you can extend him, then they like that deal a lot. I tend to agree. Like, if you get an extension on Hanifin, I don't mind that. Mangiapane will help you this year, but you're giving up a first, which is, I guess, kind of fine, a third, a fifth. Topi Nimella, like one of our best.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. You're keeping Cowan and Fraser Minton, whose stock dropped a little bit as of late, but that is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot, and it's fun to discuss, though. Any quick final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Mangiapane thing. I think he can help you right away, and I really like Nick Robertson, and I've said it the whole time on my time on this channel that I love Nick Robertson and I think he's going to be a great player, but I just don't know if he fits in with the Leafs right now and with the Leafs current coach. And that's okay, right? As long as they get something back that they can use right now. So I think in this specific trade, you do get that, but it's just given up a lot in terms of draft capital too, which you don't have a second round pick for 3 years. You might want to hold on to a couple picks. Yeah. But again, getting Noah Hanifin back would be really good. It would really help the defense if they were able to extend him. But again, I think that this specific trade, I don't hate what's coming to the Leafs in this trade. Not at all. I love it. But I would tweak it on the Leafs end a little bit. But I think it's interesting. Like you said, Ristolainen's hurt. That might be, they might be done with the Flyers proposals now. They might be, putting that to bed. So maybe they shift their focus to only the Flames or shift their focus to also St. Louis, because there's a couple guys St. Louis have too that I'm sure we'll get into in a later video. Exactly. And yeah, let us know what your thoughts are, what you would alter about this. Again, these 3 picks, Topi Nimella, Nick Robertson, and Ryan Reeves for those 2, and Hanifin, Mangiapane. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know what your thoughts are on this video, as well as the Morgan Rielly suspension. You guys have been adamant about that. We love having the discussion, so make sure to comment about that, and we will see you in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching.